I don't know if I can hear you. Test, test, test.
Hey, sure, brother.
Oh, man, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hey,
That is Shirt Brother.
what is happening? Green shirts. That means money. Or something.
Sure.
Means these shirts are recycled. You can tell.
Well, yeah, I'm wearing it. I wear my shirts more than once. I upcycle.
Upcycle, yeah, that's right.
Rehash, reuse, whatever.
Both branded. Look, I got my Ithaca's gorgeous, so I went there, you guys. I proved it. Yeah, and you went to Callahan Auto Parts.
I did not go to Sandusky, Ohio. I just support their titans of industry, Callahan Auto Parts.
And just sold you a guaranteed piece of shit or something. It goes something like that. I haven't memorized. You can tell.
So funny. I don't know. This is going to be like a you had to see it. So maybe this will at least provoke people to look at it online or search for it with my vague description. But someone on the internet. So for those of you that don't know, Callahan Auto Parts, it's a t-shirt that makes it look like it's simply supporting a business, but the business is from the illustrious movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade. But this reminded me that I found on Instagram someone put the scene where he's doing playing with the toy cars on the guy's desk trying to make the sale. They do that entire cut, but the guy puts it to like music. He caught the pitch that Chris Farley's talking in and then puts background music to it that goes with the tempo of speech and everything, and it's phenomenal. It is the best display of musical talent with coupled with the most useless usage of that musical talent, by putting a movie scene to music, like shaping like the so it sounds like he's singing his parts. It's incredible.
That sounds like,
but again,
you know what? If we were like one of those podcasts that was like, you know, kind of had it together, had our shit together.
Right. Well, okay.
I would
so
put
hypothetically
that in here
speaking,
right now. That clip. And it would be like seamless, and people would get the reference.
Oh, right.
That would be cool.
So,
but instead, I don't think I'm just gonna hit the play button for the theme song, which is
fine. That's fine. We can start the shit. I think I can. We can start it.
It's like,
let's see how good the production is.
Dink.
Amazing.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this.
I think we just set a world record for the fastest to get to the song. That's what I thought about.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's because that's what good podcasts do. Watch this, even better podcast. Welcome to Strangely Familiar with Matt and Jeff. I'm Jeff. He's Matt, and we're joining you for episode 90. So strap in. Remember to hit that like button and follow us. We are available on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you use. We really appreciate our fans, so please smash that like button and follow us and yada yada, because experienced veterans.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
It's episode 89, you dork. All right, let's start again. Cut it all out.
Okay, welcome. Cut that. Welcome to Strangers Familiar with Jeff and Matt. He's Jet. I'm Meth.
Damn it.
And it's all right. So welcome to Familiar Strange. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
I always forget. Yeah, that was good though. That was a good thought to let people know, to let the folks know. About 89 in. It's the same people listening, and we appreciate you, Strange Fam. I always hope. I don't care. I don't hope for this. I'm not going to waste a hope. But
Okay.
that there might be somebody
Okay.
new always checking this out for some reason. And if they've made it a few minutes in, that'd be kind of cool. If you did, let us know. Tell us about if you like our green shirts that we match for every episode and all that. Hullabaloo. And what I'm thinking is that since you thought this is episode 90, and on the last episode, which was 88, and you said you were going to prep
The jig is
all
up.
the things from 1989 then have them ready, that you do not have those things from 1989 ready.
Oh, man, it is so hard to say, you know? I mean, what is 1989? It really was never a year that was not impacting really much of anything. So, I mean, think of 1990 just sounds better, right?
Hey, that lasted a couple episodes. It was pretty fun to capture a year of stuff that we liked. Did you, though? But maybe. Probably because what you did do was capture some movies and TV shows and games from 1990 instead.
I
that
did.
you wanted to talk about.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Well, that'll do it, folks.
well,
Shortest
All right.
episode ever.
Well, join us. Yeah. So instead of adapting, we're just going to make 89 a really short episode. And then we'll record right into episode 90. So welcome to episode 89. It is like 20 seconds long. I bid you adieu.
Well, I do want to tell you, and it's not because I don't believe in you, Peter, but I did put some things down from 1989, so we can touch on
Fuck!
those later.
It's so much worse when you actually anticipated me fucking it up. Why? Why? Oh, that makes me feel worse. Why does it feel worse?
It's not
you
that.
prepared
See,
for my
it's just, I have a real
mess?
passion for this.
Shut up. Shut your whorish mouth. Shit.
Real passion for years and things that came out in those years, and now I can't stop. I just really
I love
like
chronology. It is
Yeah.
wow, what a delight. Pop culture. All right. Well,
Yeah. We're really putting together our own histories. You know, we're discovering who we were
Yeah.
at 6 years old now.
Um.
I have to tell you something about yesterday. So I worked yesterday, which I'll do here and there, I guess. Once in a while, I should, to meet the peoples that work on the weekends. But yesterday, I almost got into my first car accident ever, to my knowledge. I guess I could have almost been in like 400 car accidents already, and I didn't know. You know,
That's true.
Somebody else could have like run it. You know, a lot of that.
Now, if that doesn't make you feel
know,
safe for
butterfly
driving,
effect.
I don't know what will, Matt. Just acknowledging the fact that think of all the car accidents you didn't know almost happened.
I know. At any point, somebody wasn't looking and just looked up in time just to not run into you. That kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I was driving to work. Beautiful Saturday morning. It was great.
Good start.
You know, I don't want to work Saturdays, but the silver lining of it is that there's nobody on the road except for, well,
Yeah, it's nice.
except for this one guy.
Except
But
for that person.
no school, no rush hours, no anything. It was fantastic. The trip that was taking me usually 42, 43, upwards of 45 minutes took me 35 minutes yesterday. So that was nice. But I was driving on Route 5, which is a major, major artery of the Finger Lakes. Major.
huge
Really
thoroughfare.
gets you driving north of the Finger Lakes, east to west. And going through the big village of Jordan. That's so big, they joined up with Elbridge to create a high school. The Jordan Elbridge
Right.
Eagles or something, I don't know. But
It doesn't matter.
yeah, just driving, cruising at my normal 63 and a 55, the sensible speed, the speed you should go. Safe and not ticket worthy. You know, it's the perfect don't think about it speed. Yeah, I'm driving. A guy from my left turns into the road. Just number one, this is definitely, now that I've been commuting more to work, I can appreciate the anger that a lot of people have while driving. But one of the, definitely the top, probably the most anger-inducing thing, and I try not to get triggered too much about it, just be in the flow in the moment. I'd rather my anxiety take over while I'm driving than the anger. But this guy, well, people do it all the time. They pull in front of you, and especially when there's no cars behind you, it's great. So for some reason, they feel like they have to get in front of you at that moment, but they're not rushing to get onto the road. They pull into the road like a 55, 60 mile per hour traffic and just go 10. Like act like they have 40 seconds to speed up. And if they wanted to, that's fine.
As if you
Just
now
wait.
have,
if you're
as
looking
if
down
you
the road,
have
you
a
can,
red light and they're turning like left on a green. Yeah.
and you have, if you could see behind me, there's no cars for a mile. Just wait that extra 4 seconds. But it's like they're in such a rush to get onto the road to then go 40 in a 55. Like you obviously have the time. Be safe about it. So this guy is coming from the left, and this isn't even a case of just getting onto the road. I think somehow didn't see me at all. Just pulled into my lane. Actually didn't even make it all the way into the lane. I think he didn't realize till it was a big van. He was already like halfway into the, he was in the lane, just hadn't, I guess he didn't decide if he wanted to stop or not, so he just kept going. I think he knew it was a mistake, but his reaction was very bad. Like he didn't react, so he just let himself keep going into the road. And I was like, oh fuck. And it was too late for me to hit the brakes. It was one of those. I mean, I could have slammed, but I don't even think it would have helped. So I did this real slick off the shoulder move. Zoomed around, back on the road. And as I did it was all in slow motion, so that as I veered to the right of this van and I did the look in, I was like, what the fuck? Like one of those. But I just saw the fear of the young woman in the passenger seat who was clearly probably like yelling at him like, what the fuck? Like probably like, stop. Like one of those. And it's weird. I didn't really process it until like maybe 30 minutes later. Because it was such a real slick move. I give myself credit for like just superior driving. To get around the car. I never went fully off the road, but scooted around, no contact, made it fine, nothing, didn't overcorrect, anything like that, no damage, nothing. And then I thought, maybe, just maybe, all this driving anxiety has really paid off. Because now when something real bad happened, I was just cool as a cucumber. When there's something real to worry about, doesn't matter to me. I only worry about things that you don't have to worry about, things that are in my mind.
That's the true anxiety.
The real stuff's easy.
True anxiety is realizing that, so that's a really worst case scenario that I just went through, and I handled that really well. Well, the next one's going to be terrible.
Yeah. Well, then I did like 10 minutes. I think I had a lot of adrenaline pumping, going, and yeah, probably 10 minutes later, it hit me, and when I was still driving, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, shouldn't I be like freaking out or something like that, or like shaking or something? And I was like, it kind of wasn't. I was like, it's like, I don't know. It's like nothing bad happened. I mean, it could have really bad, but it didn't, and I'm okay.
I'll tell you, people who are good drivers, you are always going to be involved in potential accidents. And what I mean by that is that real good drivers, every single good driver has had situations where they've made a move to account for someone else's negligence. Like you've taken evasive action to avoid an accident that would have happened had you not made an adjustment. That's every good driver has that. So like that should be really reassuring to yourself, because that's what driving is, right? Especially winter driving. Winter driving, that's all it's about. You're not worried about you making mistakes. Winter driving is every fucking person around me has the potential to ruin all of our fucking days by not understanding how snow and ice works. And that's where anxiety comes in, is because it's not I'm gonna fuck it up. It's some asshole's gonna come and fuck my shit up. And it's, that's why when I talk to these people in my work, I mean, when I used to though, and people are like, oh yeah, like I check their policies and they have like 4 not at fault accidents and stuff. That means you're a bad driver. If you're involved in a lot of not at fault accidents, you probably aren't good at driving. I'm here to tell you that, folks. So if you ever say, yeah, but Jeff, all the insurance companies said I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, I guarantee you have driving tendencies that are the reason you are susceptible to being hit by other people making mistakes. And that's similar to what this would have been. If you were like, yeah, I didn't know what to do, and I clammed up or slammed on my brakes and I smashed into the back of him, I get that he's the proximate cause and majority at fault. But you can be partially liable because you suck at driving. So consider it a big win that you assessed the situation, whether it's subconsciously or not. You did something reflexively that got you out of a pickle. When you said you went off to the shoulder, I'm like, well, that's not a good start. I'm like, and it sounded like you didn't decrease your speed. So I'm like, well, that's really a risky move. But I mean, hey, it paid off. Because right, you don't.
I honestly don't know exactly how it all went down. But...
Probably, yeah, you probably don't. Just because it's all happening so quick. But like slamming on your brakes is rarely a good idea. You definitely want to brake, but like you said, if your brakes locked up and you started fishtailing, you probably would have hit him. You would have hit him at a very decreased speed. But you probably would have hit him. Sounds like it would have taken a brake and a swerve. But yeah, man, it should make you feel better. Now it's going to make you jaded because you're just going to be see, you're not going to become less upset at people. No, it's like you're going to be more confident in your driving, but because you're more confident in your driving, you're going to be also more okay being pissed off at everyone else's shitty driving. Because you know how to drive now. You've given yourself the confidence of like, I'm a good driver. But now every time, even if it's not a sudden accident, you're going to now perceive other people more, and you're going to be more empowered to go, what is this fucking clown doing? This dude doesn't even know how to drive. In the back of your head, you're like, I know how to fucking drive. I can account for these clowns. He's like, but I still hate them for existing. Dude, the roads are way more convoluted than they even were when we first got our licenses, and everyone's getting worse at driving because their cars have bells and whistles that say, we make it so much easier for you to drive, and all it does is give people unrightful confidence to not pay attention. And cell phones are the biggest problem in the world with driving because people just don't fucking pay attention. They don't.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have been paying attention.
Good on you for not dying.
If I was even looking at my phone to like switch the song or something like that, I would have probably
you'd have been fucked.
Them,
You would have lost that a second or two of reaction time, which clearly was a massive difference.
And it's also like having ridden on two wheels for a few years in my life, scooter, bicycle, that kind of thing. Like you just have to learn the defensive driving, otherwise you'll die. It just is the way. And even if you do learn it, like everybody I know that's ever ridden on a motorcycle or a scooter has gotten into an accident or fallen off somehow. It just happens. Like you will not avoid it in your lifetime if you decide you want to be a two-wheeled rider, because people don't notice, or they, what they teach you in defensive driving for the motorcycle is, if you're ever in an interaction with a couple cars or something, cars that people don't know, it's just instinctual. But if it's the choice between running into a telephone pole and running into another car, they run into whoever's on two wheels because it's a softer target. It's a path of least resistance that their mind goes to. Unfortunately, that can happen. So you always have to assume people are going to... I mean, you should just do that anyway in a regular car. I'm sure as the insurance agent you would say that. But just pretend people are going to do the wrong thing all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's how you drive.
Absolutely. Dude, I can't believe how blindly confident pedestrians are. I am the most cautious pedestrian in the world now because everyone's so bad at driving. I don't care if I'm in a parking lot, crossing a road, I'm assuming every driver is fucking driving with their eyes closed. People that like waltz into fucking traffic like Vince McMahon or Conor McGregor doing the corporate arms, swaying. And I'm like, do you know this car's going to stop? They're like, I have the right of way. I'm like, it doesn't matter when the big metal box hits your fucking meat sack and you just straight die. Like, I'll put on your tombstone, he had the right of way. There, that'll show them all. Like, I don't give a shit about right of way. No one is paying attention at any given time. I'm assuming every driver is fucking texting their BFF Jill.
I don't like, it happens a lot in Auburn, because we have so many transient folks or whatever, a lot of drug-riddled folks that love crossing the street at the wrong time or at the wrong place. I think it brings them real joy. or it's like their way of maybe saying fuck the system, fuck the man,
Yep.
I'll walk wherever.
Yep.
And it's like, cool, that'll work for a little while until it doesn't. But you can tell, I don't know, it's definitely a way to be seen or something like that. So in their meth addict mind of like, no, I'm going to be in the middle of this town. I'm going to be in the middle of somebody's day. I'm going to ruin it or something like that. Or I need to be seen. I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly. I think there's some element of, yeah. And which is fine because now I mean, I'm not going to lay on the horn. I'll stop. I'll let, and it's always a purposefully slow walk too. And I always like when they do the look too to see, because they do care. Because they always do the look over to see if you're mad or reacting.
Because they want to know what your reaction is. Yeah.
Yeah. They want you to be mad so bad. And I don't even do it anymore. Like, I don't know that I ever really did it anyway, but like, I just stop and I just, when they look at me, I just go, all right, hey, cool. I'm still going to where I'm going. I'm still going to work or I'm still going to the store. I don't know. Like, I don't feed into the negativity. I just talk about it on podcasts, how much I hate it, but I won't feed into it in that moment. I won't give them what they want.
Give them the old Adam Sandler on Big Daddy. Be like, you're not mad at me. You're mad at your father.
That is what I think. Yeah,
just do
it's
that
okay.
one.
If this is what you need to get you through the day.
That and heroin.
Yeah, I was saying until
That
you get
and
the needle,
heroin.
it'll be all right. But also then it's also like self-serving because then I can be like, yeah, I'm a fucking stand-up guy. Look at me. I'm such a cool dude.
Know who handled that well? Me.
Yeah,
I
really,
handled that
really
well.
top of my game.
Yep.
I'm a real hero.
Right. Now the other 23 hours and 59 minutes of my life, I have handled poorly, but I handled this really well. Now off to my job where I'll make poor decisions for my own life. Yeah, man, it's a world of just being aware that everyone else is so fucking bad at that task. So many people are bad at driving. And it really makes me like when I visit places, like I went to New York City last week and everything, and went like visiting and taking like subways and stuff. It makes me appreciate mass transit because I'm like, someone else is doing all the work. Let's all fucking get where we need to go with no one needing to make decisions. On top of it is better for obviously the environment and congestion and stuff. But mass transit, that's a big advantage because everyone on the road is fucking terrible at driving. And if we had better mass transit systems, we could avoid all of that stress. Imagine your commute only just being you not making decisions, someone driving you to work every day. That'd be pretty rad. Like, I get people say, otherwise and have different opinions on that, but I'm like, listen, if I'm sitting next to the dummy that can't drive, they can't hurt me. Give me all the trains.
I can't believe anybody drives in New York City. I mean, I know there's just so many people there and so many ways to get to anywhere, but I mean, I guess I get it because you got to get over the smell of poo-poo and being inside of a tight tube. But it's really, New York did it right in terms of just make Wi-Fi available in the subway, and it cures everything.
And everything will be fine.
It's the same when the airports got outlets everywhere and Wi-Fi everywhere. Like, it really is like the opiate of the masses is just Wi-Fi. Just get people the internet, and they're fine. Like, everything will be okay. It makes it really easy.
Because everyone's allowed to be whisked into their own world. Yep. No, it's just headphones and internet literally makes everyone just be able to basically teleport for all intents and purposes. Like, nothing else exists. I will disengage once I get onto this tube, and then I will re-engage once I need to leave.
There was a guy, I don't know, I just thought about it. Speaking of technology, I use my Apple Watch, which, a lot of people have now. I was not the first person to get an Apple Watch. I was probably like...
Okay. Well, I got to change my notes.
Something. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And still people have a reaction to me when I use it to pay. And everywhere that has like a tap ability, it's still like, oh, that's fancy. That's a thing. That's crazy. My watch would never do that. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not otherworldly expensive per se. But this one guy, I went to Aldi last week and I was paying with it. And he goes, he goes, oh, like that. Gave me a audible like huff. Oh. And I was like, what? And he didn't say that. I said, no, what? I was like, this is really fast. And I think in his mind, like, he was like, oh, I don't know if he thought it was going to take longer or if I was being too fancy or something like that, but he was definitely not pleased with it. And I was like, I'm out of here. And I was like, what? And he didn't say that. And I literally said, no, what?
This is the person
like, I don't carry my
behind you or
wallet. This is
employee?
easy. Behind me. The guy behind me. So I was like, I'm making your life faster.
So how
And then
old
he
was
was
he? Take a guess. Let's.
I'm going to say around
Let's
60.
attack an age group. Oh yeah,
And it was a long
fuck yeah.
line. I mean, you know how Aldi is.
Yeah.
Like, they only have one
Okay.
line that's functioning, maybe two. So it's a long line. But I was like, I'm making this faster.
Glasses or no? Facial hair? I want to picture
I
this
think
man.
so. It was a
Okay.
POC, a gentleman,
It was okay.
person of color.
Yeah.
Catch up, Jeff.
Okay.
When you get an Apple Watch, you start saying POC. It's part of it.
Gotcha.
It's in the
Sorry.
terms.
Sorry.
It's in the
Liberal
TOC.
Agenda. Liberal agenda. It's the
Yeah.
TOC, terms of condition. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good. I'm getting this. I would have absolutely done the same thing. I'd been like, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think this is going to take long? Be like, well, see, here's the funny thing about it taking long. The technology, and then I would make it take long because
Yeah,
he
make it
huffed and
longer.
puffed, so that he can be the reason that the line got held up. And then I would end with that too, and I'd go. So as you can see, I'm done explaining the watch, but the point of my explanation wasn't the explanation itself, sir. The point of the explanation was that you're huffing and puffing about this taking longer, and me needing to explain it. The explanation in turn made it the long process where I was trying to be efficient. So what we'll need to know is that for you to remain quiet just because technology scares you, and always remember, sir, this one thing: you can always go fuck yourself instead of fucking getting into my shit. And then you smack the cash out of his hand and be like, it's 2024, shithead. And then you fucking power walk out. Fucking hate people.
Well, at the
I'm
end, I
so
remember I
mad
was
on
just
your
like-
behalf. Fucking dick.
I know.
God, I
I'm like bringing up
fucking
so
hate
many things today
Stupid
that
old
just
people.
make you
Fuck.
so angry.
It does, because it's just, yeah, it's, because you don't want to what, like, I just know so many people that would fucking be that person. And it's like, grow up, you miserable shit dick. It literally is the technology scares me, and I don't understand it. And everything that I don't understand scares me. You know what, Matt? He doesn't care about your feelings, too. Fuck your feelings. That's that guy. Because you want to know why? It's, I don't got time for shit I don't understand. But it helps everything. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck recycling. Like, that's that guy. God damn it.
Also, you don't have to say anything. Like, why do you even have to comment on? I mean, I don't even understand. Like,
Right.
what does that do for your day? How does that make you
God
happier? But at
damn
the end, I was like, because it was over so fast, and then I was like, at the end, I was just like, you know what? The only thing that happens is sometimes now I don't have my ID on me, so I got to, Anyway, see you later. Because I don't have my wallet. It was something like that. I don't know. It was like sometimes I forget my ID because it
Now-
just use my watch.
I will say this. Tap to pay, as far as phones and watches, didn't really ever pick up to the extent that I think we thought they were going to. I have no problem with doing them. Obviously, the technology's there, but I have both of those things, and I'll be honest with you. I pull out my card and still tap
You
my
don't
card.
tap it in?
No.
You don't
No,
tap
I just-
tappy?
I don't know if I don't know if it'll activate unless it's like it's active. Like, I never know, like, with now I do with my phone for like subway systems and stuff, because that has tap to pay, which is brilliant. But like my watch, no, I don't. I forget that it's there, and it's my priority card. Like, if I tap to pay, it's going to pay with the same card that I pull out of my pocket. I think I'll tell you why. I think my guess is that not everyone has a tap to pay system, so I'm always going to need to pull out my card when I make a transaction. So I think it's just my reflex is to pull out the card, and then I determine if it's tap to pay or insert the chip. Or old style, like it's 1973. I'm swiping a credit card. Remember swiping? What?
I do.
That guy probably swipes. Fucking clown.
Dude, remember I remember my Sears day. Remember he has to put a card down and like crunch it to get
Oh, yeah.
get the
Yeah.
stamp. We used to take literal
At the-
copies carbon copies of people's whole credit cards, the number and everything. That's how you.
Yeah, and no one
do
saw
a
any problem
transaction.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the guy at
those were nice and easy.
do you remember the Auburn Musician? Did you go to Auburn Musician or Spino Music? Because that was like fucking
We were
West
Spino
Side
Music
Story. Which
family.
one you went? Oh wow, jeez, we were Auburn Musician, but that guy had a credit card writer and like wrote out handwritten receipts. And when he would do the math, he'd be writing out the taxes because he'd calculate it and then write out the taxes. And he'd always say like, and 8% for the governor's new boat or something like that. Like he would, yeah, like this man was against government, but I would always remember that is that he would always make a comment about adding taxes to musical instruments.
I still get a lot of comments on my actual credit card too, or debit card when I bust it out. And you know, as I'm saying this, we probably could have touched on all this a couple weeks ago when we did that little bit about credit cards. It's weird how it keeps coming up fresh. You know, new debit card stories. Wow, what a life we lead.
Very
but mine
fresh.
has a picture. It's a Wells Fargo card, and it has a picture of like the galaxy from space. So people are always like, "Wow, that's a really cool card," and I take pride in that. I don't know why. I enjoy it. I like when people talk about it, and it gives me pride that when I chose the card and I got to choose between like a picture of birds or plain red or a tree or the galaxy, that I chose the galaxy because people really like it. And they're like, "What is that? That's very cool." And also in upstate New York, there's not a lot of Wells Fargo banks, if any.
That's true.
And
That's
then
why
I
you're
turn
an
that
anomaly.
I know. And I turn that into a conversation of, well, get this. It expires in April of 2025, so I'm not going to have it for much longer. And they're like, "Oh, no." And then I say, "Yeah, but when's the last time you had a debit card that made it all the way to the expiration?" And scene. And then we have a conversation. It's just a great icebreaker. It really gets people talking like, I never thought about it. And you can extend the conversation for a good like 8 to 10 seconds longer. It's good for everybody involved.
A good you have a good 8
Yeah,
to 10 seconds left of pleasant smiling and nodding.
Yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I usually get stolen or hacked. And it's like, I know, right? And this one, I might make it all the way till April. We'll see, but I probably just jinxed it, right?
I'll let you
sign
know.
Here, though.
Yeah. All right, so I got more customers behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to. I should try to get a fancy credit card. Yeah.
Have you ever had a credit card or a? I don't know. There was like an era in the around 2010, 2000s to 2010, where like every company wanted you to have their branded credit card. Like you could get the WWE Discover card, or you get like an NHL team logo, or any of those. Did you ever had a branded team logo card?
No. And I was actually going to think of is there was also a push probably around the same time where you could upload your own photos. And at the time, it's like, oh, upload a picture of your kids or something. I'm like, oh, that's dumb. But now as like a 40-year-old, I'm like, man, I really want to upload some weird photos to make on my credit cards. I'm like, that'd be really great. But there is like a copyright thing. So obviously it has to be literally basically they make it so it has to be a photo you took. But I wouldn't want to do anything like offensive or gross, just something weird, like a sandwich or something. Like just something weird.
It's a super duper close up of my butthole. It cannot be decipherable, but every time
you can't do that.
Every time you give it to somebody, you know, it's for you. You know.
Oh, like really, really close up, even like poorly lit
close.
And everything, and they're like, "What am I looking at?" You're like,
not like through the mirror.
It's not important.
Like you got to try a couple times.
Right.
Look
Not
at
like
it.
selfieing through your legs in front of the mirror.
Yeah. You got to give it a few goes and then zoom in and then really,
Yeah. That's good. Well, speaking of butthole, so
what?
Yesterday, I want to share this. Yesterday, I went to a game night at a friend's house. I was invited over for a game night. He had been saying that so this is a friend that I used to work with years ago, and he and other coworkers would play games, like board games. And I go, oh, yeah, let me know. So I was able to go last night, and we played, let me make sure I get the title correct. Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. So, if you're like, Jeff, that's not Twister. I don't know what that is. So, it was my first foray into like a real, like, intense board game. So, like, it started with like him having to talk the rules for about like 10 minutes of like lore and like what the theme of the game is, and like, and so it's just like you pick like your type of character. So it's an extension. Baldur's Gate, I knew I had heard that before, and that's because it was like a PC game,
a video game
back in the 90s, and it was and it was a division off of the realm of like Dungeons and Dragons. And so we played this thing, and like it was so labor intensive, and like sitting through him reading the like directions was pretty rough. But like getting into the swirl things, like it was really entertaining, and I'm like, I want to play this again, like that. But the problem with games like that is I'm like, I don't know that people like to play this. Like, that is a very niche market, and even my friends that are willing to play board games and have like a game night, no one has like the attention span and or desire to play like that intensive board games. So it kind of like makes me worried, because time wise I think it took us about 3 hours, maybe start to finish.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was wild. Like there's tiles and tokens and
it was wild.
And dice rolling, and like, but like it's just so non-conventional. Like you have to put things down, and like you don't know how the board's gonna go, and you're like, you know, you got attributes and stuff, and you're keeping track of all of this, but in a game board method. Like there's no digital aspect to it. And the game has like basically 50 scenarios as to how it can go based on how things get randomized and happen. So it's got great replay value, and yeah, I was deeply enthralled. I was hesitant, wasn't sure, because he was like, oh, we have like, and of course he's like, we have simpler stuff like Ticket to Ride and Settlers of Catan, and I'm like, that's the simple stuff.
Simpler stuff.
I'm like, shit. I'm like, but yeah, I mean, I really liked it, and he had some other like Marvel dice games that I didn't realize exist and stuff. But yeah, it was fun. Really enjoyed it. And now, again, that was Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, I believe is what it was called. Very cool. Have you ever played like
that's
intense like Dungeons and Dragons type stuff, or anything like more intense board games?
Well, it makes me want to like find. See, that's the kind of crew. Like when people say find your people or whatever and do stuff, like I would rather have that than like video game friends or something, in a way, like board game people. I gotta find that crew, because, well, number one, I've been really wanting to play Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, game of the year for the PC. But it's one of those I'm gonna wait till like Thanksgiving sale kind of thing. But I watch people play it, and it's like that. It's like, now I will move 7 paces to this, and then, oh, I better go put my archer up on the balcony so he can get a shot at this. You know, it's like a lot of like strategy. So it is that D&D feel, and I can't wait to play that. But and the RPG element of it, and monster nudity, and monster boning, and gay monsters, and a lot really into like monster stuff. Anyways, yeah, I remember my first kind of foray into a more complicated game is when I came back from Russia, or maybe a couple years after. My mom for Christmas bought me a game called Russian Rails, which is a board game. And I never played it till maybe a couple years later, because it seemed complicated, and it was kind of. It's like you lay out the map of Russia and Ukraine, fuzzy borders, too soon. But the idea was you'd build your own rails. Each person, you had like whatever color crayon, and you have to like go pick up resources and bring them to different cities, or connect main cities to smaller cities. And it probably would take like 2 to 2.5 hours. And it was like, simplistic in terms of learning it, but it's all strategy. So every game would be different. And I got really into it. And it was one of those like, you love it so much, or I did, but every time you try to get somebody else into it, it's it's like being a teacher in real life. It's just a thankless job trying to teach somebody a new game and trying them to get into it. I think if you can get like 10 to 20% of people that you try to recruit into it, that's a good batting average. Because you got to have somebody who has the patience and then wants to learn the strategy of it. And then, because always, somebody's first time through a game just sucks anyway. I mean, you might start to acquire at least how to play it, but then you're like, fuck, I already messed up. Now I got 2 more hours of just sitting here, knowing I'm going to lose. But I like it. And I got, I played Catan, and maybe some expansion versions of it. But I got to say, for somebody who loves games, I don't play enough. There's one of my favorite games, just because of how pretty it is. Here, let me grab it. And knock everything else over. Is a game. It's called Photosynthesis, you guys. And who doesn't love a game named after a biological term for plants absorbing sunlight? And but it was very cool.
It was like, it's like, what? How could we name this game the nerdiest fucking title we could think of?
I know.
Because everyone knows that word. It's a complex science word that everyone's heard of and understands. Okay.
But it's a game about just, if you're watching, it's a game about placing trees. So there's 4 different colors, 4 different teams, and the sun moves around the board over time. So you're like trying to get your trees into the right area to absorb the most sun, or grow the fastest, and go through seasons and stuff like that. And it's just a strategy game. But so many of these games, I would say in the 2010s, so hot for strategy games. Every niche kind of field of study had its own strategy game, whatever you were into. But I love them. I like it. I like trying to figure it out. Especially when you play a new game with somebody else. Another one I liked, I have here, Forbidden Sky. There was a series of Forbidden Island, Forbidden Sky, but essentially it's a co-op. I don't know if you ever played a co-op board game, but they're fun because you're trying to work against the clock or whatever timer the game has to escape. In this case, from the sky, you have to power up a rocket ship and that kind of thing. So, that was kind of fun era as well, the co-op stuff, because then it doesn't have the heat of a, playing against each other.
The animosity isn't there.
Yeah.
I think what Pandemic was the big one from that era.
Yeah. So yeah, I love them. I need to, you know what? I feel inspired. I need to try to figure out the board game community around here. That's good. That's good shit, Jeffrey. That would be one I never think about. I mean, I think about wanting to play games, but I never, because I'll bring it over to my family and I'll be like, hey, I brought this game over, and everybody's like, let's do Uno, which is sensible because you eat dinner and you're just you're just hanging. You're like, we don't know how long we're going to play a game. And it's yeah. It's also there's kids involved and, but yeah, that's cool. I want to do that. I need to find that nerd group around here.
Because the problem is you can go too far the other way. Because during the pandemic, I did try playing a game of normal Dungeons and Dragons online. Too much. I lost interest. It's too slow moving and too long-term strategy. I'm like, nope, this isn't for me. You keep it around that 3-hour mark, and I can stay engaged, interested, but see light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, it's a weird format what this game was, because I never played a game like this either. Basically, there's 2 phases to the game. The beginning is you're going around and exploring the world and dealing with spells and stuff and coming across what are called bad omens and everything, and you're acquiring things from rooms and stuff. And then at some point, the what was it called? A trigger of an event happens, and then basically you look up in the rules based on random aspects what the event is, and someone in the group who's playing becomes the bad guy and they get different attributes then, and then it's them versus the rest of the group, and obviously one side wins or not. But it was a very interesting concept with 2 phases and such, and the game changes, so like it was just enough to be really intriguing and fun, but not being too complex. I liked it a lot.
It is fun, though. It's just like everything else in life. Things that you like that you bring to a party or different people, and it's like, everything's riding on this. My entire stake as a human being and my self-worth is riding on whether or not people want to play this game and they like it or not. It's like, here's something I really like, and it's got trees, and the trees are cute, right, you guys? That's how you hook them in.
When you meet people, it's not even gauging like what they like and don't like, because like if someone's like, oh, do you like sports? Like if you're talking to someone on like day one, your go-to might be sports, and they're like, yeah, and they kind of give you like an arbitrary yeah, and you're like, shit, that doesn't help me, because now how much do I pump the brakes on how much sports they do or do not like? Like, are they like the casual fan? Do they like the sport but they don't like fantasy? Do they like fantasy? Do they fucking love fantasy? And that's all you want to do is talk about. So like, you never know. Yeah. Or like games. Think of asking someone, oh, do you like to play games? Yeah, I love playing games. Wait a minute. Does this mean you occasionally play Scrabble like twice a year with your family? Or do you spend hours on end every weekend playing online? Or yeah, it's tough. And you're right. If you're passionate about something, there's nothing more fucking crippling than trying to relay your passion with someone and you just see their eyes glaze over, or like you see them trying to politely smile and nod through it. Like I've literally stopped myself, like skidded to a stop, like someone cut me off on Route 5 in Jordan. I skid to a stop and have been like, I can see that I'm going down a road that you're not too intrigued with. So like, it's just like, I'm going to fucking stop talking. You seem uncomfortable by how much I like this thing.
I actually had almost a perfect representation of this situation this week at work. So obviously I'm trying to like build relationships with people at work. And so the deli team leader there has a pin on his hat of the New Jersey Devils logo. So I was like, perfect. Okay. This is like a great way. But I didn't, you don't know. Number one, I was like, you shouldn't have that pin on your hat. The food safety. And I didn't do that. I don't care. That's not my role. But I was like, hey, Joe, you're a Devils fan? He's like, yeah, I am. And I was like, I'm like, how hardcore do I go into this? Like, I'm basically like, I was like, did you ever play hockey? He's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, but yeah, it's like, wow, you guys are 1-0. You're the only undefeated you have the best record in the NHL right now. Sorry, Sabres fans. Sorry.
2-0 now.
Yeah, but they started that global series. So I was like, he's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, no. Yeah, they were the only team that played so far. And I was like, yeah, I know. I said that. I was like, okay.
You're maybe like, no, the Sabres did, stupid.
And then we were, then he was like, well, the only team I really hate is like Philly. I hate Philly. And I was like, yeah, I went to a game in Philly last year. I saw the Bruins play, and he's like, well, I also got to, I got to hate the Rangers. I was like, yeah, you do, because of division and rivals. Yeah, okay, yeah, so you are in on this. I was like, good. And I was like, because then I was like, well, yeah, the Bruins, they open up Tuesday, but I was like, and they have to, their first game's in Florida for the banner raising ceremony. I was like, that's kind of lame, right? That doesn't seem fair. And he was like, yeah. I was like, wait, does he know Florida won the Stanley Cup? I don't know. And then he goes,
shit.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, but then we got, Devils gonna be good this year. We got that new goalie from the Flames." I was like, "Oh yeah, Markstrom, he's really good." Yeah, so you are on it. I was like, some details. So I'm like, I still don't know. I think he's in, but I'm like, the whole way I'm like, because I want to go 110% into like hockey nerditude with him, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah, so I was gauging it with him, but I figure if you're wearing a pin on your hat at work, and you know about the new free agent goalie, and you're paying attention to the early games already, that's a good sign. So
you got to be careful.
It's like, how
tell you why.
Deep do you go?
I'm going to tell you why too. Is it can be weird if every time you see him, like here's what I need you to do. Maybe next time, that was your first interaction with this person?
most in-depth one, I'd say. It was outside of
Okay.
hellos or just general work stuff.
Your next one, if you mention hockey, has to be very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly don't even mention it next time you talk to him.
Probably
'Cause
not.
You don't want to be that weird guy at work that he goes home and talks to him and be like, yep, Matt showed up and guess what he fucking talked to me about? Like, oh, yeah, Joe, I see your team beat the block. Like, you got to pump the brakes, even if
What
you're
are you guys,
hyped about
6-2
it.
and 1?
Right, like, yeah,
Approximately.
exactly. You can't, every time you see him, you can't mention the Devils. You can't. Because he'll be like, I'm starting to hate hockey because this guy, Matt, new HR guy, won't leave me alone because he saw a fucking Devils pin once. Then you go up and you see he takes the pin out of his hat because now he's ashamed and hoping that, like, you'll forget or something. So, like, just careful. I know it's exciting, but you gotta pump the brakes.
I should give it a couple months and then out of nowhere just do like the Seinfeld, just like the Devils, one of those,
Yeah,
like Putty.
right. How old is he?
Classic.
How old is this guy?
Probably more like late 30s, maybe mid 30s.
You're HR. Go fucking look at his.
Maybe early
at his
30s. I could
stuff.
probably just look it up.
Why are you
Yeah.
guessing? His date of birth is all
It's anywhere
over
from
your
late
HR
30s to
paperwork.
early 30s or below. I don't know.
What the fuck does that mean? Anyway,
I don't know how old he is.
so right, so you don't. He probably knows Putty, but does he know Putty? But
True,
so
probably
I
not.
don't know, man. I mean, good luck.
I'll hold off
Good
on
luck
the
with this
face paint.
whole. Good luck. Yeah, good luck with this whole thing. It's just you got to be careful. You got to play it slow. You got to play it slow if you want to not weird them out.
Yeah,
If you
don't
really
go
want
too
these
hard, yeah.
conversations down the line, you got to play it right.
Yeah, it's like I think he's interested. Yeah, maybe I'll just text him today and see if he watched the second game.
Nope.
Just see.
Yeah. Hey man, found your number in your paperwork. Hope this is cool.
Yeah.
Did you just see that goal save?
Hey, I logged in. I'm the only one that has access to your phone number, but I did find it. So I just so
Yeah.
you know. Whatever, you can text me if you want to. Just keep it cool. Keep it cool, man. Remember, I'm cool.
Right.
HR.
Act like he's the one creeping you out. I mean, you can text me about hockey if you want. Just back off a little bit. Wait, what?
Hey, are you working today? I mean, I know you are because I looked up your schedule, but all right. Well, we've got 8 minutes approximately to go over the greatest of 1989. We'll keep it quick since it's really important to you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Movies from 1989 that mattered. Batman's got to be up there. Michael Keaton. And we talked Tim Burton. We probably talked about it a little bit, but that for me, that was a big one. Didn't understand it. It was probably a little violent. Probably the visuals, the aesthetic was a little too much for being a 6-year-old. Maybe I saw it a year later when I was 7 when it came out on VHS. But it holds up. It's charming.
Oh wow,
Jack Nicholson's good.
a lot of great ones in here.
Yeah.
See,
Roadhouse.
yeah, Batman at that time was probably over my head, but going back and seeing it when I was older was definitely. Did you say
I remember
Roadhouse?
seeing it and not being able to gather what was going on outside of how dark it was, especially
Right.
relative to Adam West Batman, which is very different.
True.
Roadhouse, The Wizard.
Roadhouse,
Go back and review our catalog for a full breakdown on The Wizard.
Dude, you're leaving out some fucking gems.
Probably one of the most rewatched or watched from that year for me was probably Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's got to be. A lot of summers of watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep, that and excuse me. Yeah, that was phenomenal. I mean, that reaches kids. Holy shit, the whole main cast were kids. Had zany Rick Moranis, because who doesn't like zany Rick Moranis, especially when you're a child? I think you appreciate him more as an adult, but he really speaks to like being in kids' movies. But yeah, I mean, the sets and stuff, the practical effects that they used and everything, I mean, that's so rad. Still, the sizing was weird. They really didn't commit to how the size of the shrunken children were. I feel like there was scorpions. Evidently, there are thousands of scorpions in my backyard
Yes.
and are
In your
extremely
yard, yeah.
tiny.
That
Very,
may have
very
scarred
small
me for a moment.
scorpions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know where these kids live, but they have very, very tiny scorpions that are slightly larger than what appear to be very small ants. So again, the depth and stuff is very confusing. But yeah, that was a great movie. I mean, I also watched a lot of Look Who's Talking, probably taped off TV, and there was that's probably another one where there was many jokes that like John Travolta was making as a skeevy cab driver that I didn't understand, like sexual jokes he was making towards Kirstie Alley that I really didn't piece together as
And
a
that's
kid.
the
But
baby
this had-
talking movie.
Yeah, but it had Bruce Willis as the thoughts of a baby, which, I mean, printing money. Very weird context of what that movie was, but it did give us also, introduced me as a child to the late, great Abe Vigoda. Back to the Future Part 2. Any kid growing up is more enthralled with Back to the Future Part 2 than 1 or 3.
Of course, it's the
'Cause
future.
It's the future. I mean, everything was awesome. I watched that incessantly because I'm like,
2015.
fucking hoverboards. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Jaws 14. What the fuck? Oh my god.
Remember when Back to the
Reheated
Future Day came
pizza.
and went?
Yep. Came and went. Nothing
It was
happened.
kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Our
many.
Pepsi's
So
still
many
regular
cool,
Pepsi.
so many cool concepts in that. And then you had other ones that, as an adult, you appreciate, like Dead Poets Society came out that year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that what a phenomenal film. If you haven't seen it, you are wrong.
Oh, Captain, my
for
Captain.
not having seen it. Yeah. Another gem that was big in our family, because again we had it taped, was Parenthood. Did you ever see Parenthood?
I don't think so.
Steve Martin movie. It's a drama, family comedy drama. It's Steve Martin, Rick Moranis,
That's right.
Keanu Reeves, Mary Steenburgen, Diane Weiss.
I must have seen it. I think I remember, but I don't remember.
Basically just a jacked up family with a bunch of problems. But if you watch it now, it's a really good depiction of American family. Like, it's very non-traditional, and it's a really good family comedy drama. It makes you feel the feels at certain parts. It's hilarious at certain parts, given the cast, because the cast is all comedic mostly comedic actors, but they're all really good at drama. So, and a young Joaquin Phoenix is in it. I just remembered that off the top of my head. But yeah, that's going to be my hot rec. 1989's Parenthood.
Ooh. Here's a movie we have to talk about from that year.
Okay. Please.
It's a great movie, and you'll never watch it again. It's
Perfect. I love it already.
Tom Hanks's Turner and Hooch. Why would they do this to anybody? It's a buddy cop comedy featuring the cop, Tom Hanks, and his rascally dog, lovable, drooling dog, who he takes in, and sure enough, they become best friends after he doesn't want him, and he eats all of his furniture and all this shit, and you love the whole thing until the end. Spoiler alert, and I'm saving you. Hooch dies. The dog dies at the end. Why would you make the dog die?
Trying to save Tom Hanks.
I know.
Saving Tom Hanks.
Oh, God. He, gets shot, doesn't he? Trying
Yeah.
to save him. It's, brutal.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, it's this is a fun doggy movie with Tom Hanks.
80s montage songs and stuff
Yeah.
and wackiness and...
I'll never watch it again. I don't know why. I think my mom bought it on VHS. I'm never gonna watch this again. Talk about a one-time watch that it'll stick with you forever. I don't even care if it was on TV. I would never watch it. It's the most unwatched Tom Hanks movie because nobody can stand it.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Someone
it
watched,
probably is
someone
good.
Someone watched Old Yeller. Someone watched Old Yeller and said, "This is really disheartening," and people were sad. But I think we can make it sadder. We're not going to give the dog rabies. We're going to actually have the dog try to save the owner, and then people will know fucking sadness. That's why. Old Yeller, at least the dog got rabies, and dog had a fucking heel turn, as we say in the wrestling industry. But yeah, this is fucking sad. It's a
Brutal.
sad movie.
Brutal. Music, big musics. Madonna, Like a Prayer. Nirvana's Bleach album came out. Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk. So, some heavy hitters. The 90s are in full effect. Starting to hit the big bands, the big acts. For video games, I put one of my favorites, Adventures of Lolo, the little puzzle game with a little blue ball that would go around and move shit and monsters. Tetris. I think Tetris came out that year, which you know what? Over time, probably one of my most played games in my life, I'll say, between different systems and formats.
All formats.
Different color profiles. I have now the newest one. Well, there was like a Tetris 99, which was like a multiplayer Switch game, but there's a game called Tetris Connected. I may have mentioned it on this podcast years ago, but it's just a really great, chill game that has great music, soundscapes, visuals. I think you can use it on VR, which I don't have, would be awesome. But I think it's on every platform. I highly recommend, if you ever like Tetris at all, or puzzle games, Tetris Connected is super fun. Like the way, like you finish a board and then it changes into another, like visual. It's very meditative, very cool, very vibey. I think TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Nintendo version came out.
Well, not just the Nintendo version. More importantly,
Was it the arcade?
the arcade came out. And talk about a staple in 90s kids' worlds and lives growing up is that TMNT 4-player arcade game. Like, I mean, that's legendary. You don't go to Riva Rollerdrome to fucking roller skate. You're an uncoordinated, bumbling moron. You go play Turtles in the arcade. You meaning me. Me is you in this scenario.
I went to roller skate. I went to rollerblade.
No.
I was cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Geez, fancy as shit. I went for snow cones and TMNT. That's what's up.
And thick slices of pizza. And one other thing I wanted to mention, there are some pinball games starting to come out that are still with us today. And probably one of the biggest ones that's still around is one called Black Knight 2000. And this is what I think is the start of what we're going to see a lot in these breakdowns coming up shortly is the era of calling everything 2K or 2000. It's going to be a very exciting time for this coming up. We're going to see a lot of calling something, the millennium, the 2Ks, the 2000s, because you guys aren't going to believe. This is so futuristic. It's 2000 already. There's a lot of that. So this is a prologue of some excitement for the 90s.
If you want to name a video game something 2000, just incorporate robots in some way. That's what the future is. The future is literally all robots. It's just
going to be a lot of 2000 references coming up. Because it's going to change everything.
Excited. Yep. Oh God.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Because the time's out, and that's a perfect time to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done it again. 1989.
Right. I hope we learned something about yourselves, friends. I feel like I want to end the episode like a Mr. Rogers episode. It's like, well, we sure did have a good time today, didn't we? So always remember to go out and talk to people, make new friends, and remember to just keep following your passions and watch where you're driving. Don't pull out in front of other cars and cause car accidents because that would make us sad. And well, thanks for stopping.